Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited. All right. This came to me about an hour ago, so I just want to appreciate that this is definitely a labor of love that I'm providing for you today. I was just talking to a client yesterday, and she said something that reminded me why we work so hard. She said, I don't think I'm a pickle anymore. Now, if you've been around this work, you know what that means. The pickle theory, the idea that once you've used food to soothe, to numb, to cope, you're like a cucumber that became a pickle. And a pickle can never go back to being a cucumber. Once an addict, always an addict. Once broken, always broken. Once hijacked by food, forever hijacked. I used to believe that. I used to think I'd spend the rest of my life white knuckling, fighting, managing, barely holding on. But here's what I know now. 9 years into maintaining my weight loss and 16 years working on releasing ultra-processed garbage from my world. The noise does turn down. Not overnight and not perfectly, but really. I used to be a 10 plus plus on the susceptibility scale, off the charts. Couldn't be in the same room as certain foods without my brain screaming. Now, I see the difference between food and not food. The same way an alcoholic in long recovery sees the difference between whiskey and tea. It's just clear, obvious, not a battle, not a negotiation. The noise turned down. And my client, the one who said she's not a pickle anymore, she's right. Because here's what nobody tells you. This is and isn't a life sentence. The patterns can shift. The pathways can change. The chaos can calm. You start feeling it within weeks, sleeping better, thinking clearer, the grip loosening, and it keeps getting better month after month, year after year. Not because you finally found enough willpower, because you finally understood what was actually happening and started working with your system instead of against it. That's what I want for you. Not a life of white knuckling, not forever fighting. Real peace, real quiet, real freedom. Healthy respect for that substance that used to pull me. This does exist. I'm living it. My clients are living it. The pull of that poison that is only intended to nurture our soul, not our cells, releases, relaxes. Again, the pull of that poison that is only intended to nurture our soul, not our cells, releases, relaxes. And today I want to show you how we get there. Okay, is that making sense to everyone? Are we getting it? Okay, excellent. So I want to say you made it. Not just to this call, you made it through the holidays mostly. Some people have things going on yet. And of course, there's lovely, I guess it's Wednesday night, I guess it is. However that looked, you made it. Whatever happened, you're here. And that matters. I'm going to start with some gentle guesses. And I just want you to notice what lands. Not to judge, just to notice. I'm guessing some of you are feeling a little worn down right now. Maybe tired in that deep way. Not just body tired, but soul tired. Maybe there's some disappointment floating around, some frustration, maybe even some relief that it's almost over. I'm guessing the holidays weren't exactly peaceful. And I'm guessing whether you ate the thing or didn't eat the thing, you're not feeling great about how it went. Here's what I want you to know before we go any further. Whatever happened, it makes sense. I'm not just saying that. I mean it. When we look at what was actually pulling on you, and we're going to, you'll see that your system was doing exactly what it was designed to do. That's not failure. That's biology. That's survival. That's a nervous system trying to protect you. Today, we're not here to shame ourselves for being human. We're here to get curious, to learn, and to decide with eyes wide open what we want 2026 to look like. Drop a word in the chat about how you're actually feeling right now. No wrong answers, just noticing. This is the work, by the way, to take a moment to just do a body scan. We rarely take time for that. Let me make some more guesses. Drop a word in the chat when something resonates with you. I'm wondering if any of these sound familiar. Let's go back to before the event started, before the holidays. Did your anxiety kick in days before? The dread, the strategizing, the what will I eat, what will I avoid, how will I handle the dessert table? Did you lie awake rehearsing conversations, worrying about what you'd wear, how you'd look, what people would think? That's a big, heavy one. Did you feel the mental load pressing down? The planning, the shopping, the cooking, the cleaning, the coordinating. Everyone else's need on your shoulders. Did you feel the mental load pressing on you? And did you have internal negotiations about an exception to appease that protector part? Even if you didn't agree to the contract or the negotiation, you probably heard the voice. Your nervous system was already depleted before you walked through the door. Our bodies won't allow us to hold our breath indefinitely. What do you think happens when it gets too overwhelming? I'm going to say that again. Our bodies won't allow us to hold our breath indefinitely. Try it. It's impossible. Our bodies override our will. Guess what? Same thing happens with our food. When our bodies are overwhelmed, it uses the go-to. So, at the event, let's flash on the event. Did the food pushers show up? Bless my grandmother, she was my first drug pusher. Oh, just have one. But I made this just for you. It's the holidays. Don't be so rigid. Are you still on that ridiculous diet? Did you hear those voices? Inside or out? And feel your nervous system buckle? Because saying no felt like risking love, risking connection, risking being the difficult one. Confrontation, ew. Did you notice that little voice inside, the one that whispered, but I want it. I deserve a treat. Everyone else is having some. It's not fair. I just want to be normal. That's not weakness. That's a part of you, probably a young part, that learned a long time ago that food is love. Food is comfort. Food is the only thing that's truly yours. Oh, okay, what about after? If you ate the thing, did the shame spiral start? The why did I do that? The what's wrong with me? The inner critic suddenly screaming. Did you feel that crash? The happy hormones plummeting. The mood tanking. The purple minions begging for more of the thing that made it feel better. Did the what the hell effect kick in? I already blew it. Might as well keep going. I'll start fresh on Monday. Or if you didn't eat the thing, did you congratulate yourself and celebrate the massive effort it took? Maybe. Did you leave more exhausted than when you arrived? Not from enjoying yourself, but from fighting yourself? Did you miss the moments, the stories, the laughter? Because your brain was at the dessert table the whole time? Did you get home and eat it anyway, alone in the kitchen at midnight? Because the restriction created pressure and the pressure had to go somewhere? I didn't even discuss how during those chaotic times our normal self-care drops to zero. Zero. There is a huge connection. Bodies need to breathe. They need relief. Because we don't connect the dots between the diet and the breathing. But here's what I want you to see. Both paths led to the same place. Ate it, shame, crash, cravings, spiral. Didn't eat it, exhaustion, isolation, missed connection, possibly delayed eating anyway. Either way, the noise was so loud, before, during, and after, that there was no peace, no win, no way out. That's not a you problem, that's a system problem. And understanding that, that's where things start to shift. Drop a note in the chat thread if any of this makes sense to you, and you maybe already have been, but I'd like to hear what parts of this really hit home for you. Here's what I want to clarify. Everything that happened this last week, it's not evidence that you're broken, it's data. It's your nervous system showing you where it gets activated. It's your patterns revealing themselves. It's your unconscious contracts playing out. It's your biology doing exactly what biology does. It's your body screaming, breathe. And now you know. You know which situations trigger you. You know which people push your buttons. You know which voices, internal and external, hijack your peace. You know what happens when you're depleted, alone, activated. That's not failure. That's intelligence gathering. And here's the beautiful part. There is a beautiful part. There's a beautiful part, promise. Once you can see the pattern, you can work with it. Not against yourself, with yourself. If you're keeping up with me up to this point, I want you to give yourself a big woohoo, a big standing ovation. In the magic, we call it this, standing out. You can work with it, not against yourself, but with yourself. Like going with the stream. Not more rules, more understanding, not more shame, more compassion, not more fighting, more curiosity. And remember what I said at the beginning? The noise turns down. Not by fighting harder, but understanding deeper. When you know what's actually driving the chaos starts to lose its power. I want to go back to the idea of the pickle. I don't believe that my body reacts very negatively to ultra-processed garbage. And by negatively, I mean it creates a system that I can't stop. That hasn't changed. But what has changed is my need to go to that substance. That's the noise that we turn down. So I don't want to nullify the idea that this stuff isn't addictive and that I will ever want to or need to eat that substance again. I want you to hear this. It's a very important distinction. I very much have a healthy respect for what that substance could do to me. But it's there to nurture my soul, and I know I can find other ways to do that. It's definitely not there to nurture my cells. So what did you learn about yourself this week that you didn't know before? You must have noticed a shift. You must have noticed some changes. You've been working on this far too long. You wouldn't be here if you weren't in a place where you really had already started deeply working on this. What did you notice about this week? I'm going to take just a minute to check out the chat thread here. Oh, we've had a few comments. I'm getting my eyes checked tomorrow. Had to change the settings here. It's been a little too long. I think it's been 3 years since I had my eyes checked. My immune system tapped out like it does every time I get a break. So I spent the week with the flu. Still provided Christmas dinner for my family, but I had no appetite. I take it as a blessing. Sorry you're sick, but it did give you a reprieve. So many triggers around family. Your body overrides your will. Yes. Yes. Cravings. Craving more, delayed eating. Yep. So much shame. Why can't I stop? Yep, that is today. Tired, sore, hopeful. Tired and still pushing myself to put my home back in order. Yep. Oh, yeah. All of that. Lots of that. Some general post-event anxiety, exhaustion, self-disappointment. Yep. PEX is a really big one. Really big one. Okay. Let's go on. I hope you've had a chance to take a breath here, because that process, what we just went through, can stir up and make us feel just like a gratitude practice allows us to marinate in that beautiful moment of gratitude. You just went through your holidays again. So I just want to give you a little bit of a high five, and also an opportunity to take a breath and let your body know that you're there. You see it. You recognize the stress. So let's talk about what's coming. It's the end of December. I felt it literally the 26th, the morning of the 26th. There's this energy in the air. I don't know if you can feel it. I can feel it. There's a collective exhale, the turning of the page, the sense that something new is possible. And here's what actually happens. We make resolutions. We pick someone else's diet. We declare this will be the year. We ride that wave of motivation for a week, 2, use the first stumble until the first stumble, sorry. And when the familiar spiral, I blew it. What's wrong with me? I'll start again Monday. Happens. We're watching that whole process in our heads unfold because we have data. We do the same thing every year. And every year we end up in the same place. We think. Here's what I want you to hear. That momentum you feel right now, it's real, and we can use it. Not with someone else's diet, not with their rules, not with shame as the fuel, but if we look that momentum and take that momentum and point it somewhere new. What if instead of starting over, you started from where you are? What if instead of following someone else's diet, you tweaked the one that has mostly worked? Your own approach, one that actually fits your life, your body, your history. I've had to do that my entire life because of my delightful, sophisticated system. Certain foods I couldn't eat, but they were required. So I had to honor and release the idea that I have to follow every rule to do it right. I had to make my own rules. I call them sacred boundaries. What if instead of trying to be good, you tried being curious? What if instead of obeying rigid rules that were never designed for you, you discovered your sacred boundaries, lines you draw from your own knowing that help you? Each one of us, they say we think we're terminally unique. Well, guess what? We are a little bit, because each one of our systems handles and does things differently. Our lives are different. Our experiences are different. Our pasts are different. Our future will be different. What if instead of white knuckling alone, you had people who actually get it walking with you? That's what we're doing differently this year. We're going into 2026 with our eyes wide open. Not naive, not pretending this will be easy, but not defeated either. Not stuck in shame, not dragging last year's failures into a fresh start. Just think about that. It's like pulling from a uh, cesspool and trying to clean it off well enough so that it looks good for the new year. We need to figure out how to shift these things and stop doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Our mindset shift is critical. We're bringing everything we learned, every misstep, every struggle, every pattern, and we're using it. Instead of shoving it in a corner or tossing it in some cesspool out back. We need to use our history. We need to use our struggles, our missteps, our screw-ups. We need to use them. Because it's not baggage, it's curriculum, and that's the raw material for building your plan. Can you consider trusting yourself and your wealth of knowledge and awareness? Can you consider trusting yourself? We're told not to. We're told our brain is too defective. Well, our brain has definitely been impacted by ultra-processed garbage. It absolutely has. Drop a yes in the chat thread if this makes sense, if you feel like you could trust yourself. Let me remind us of some things we've been learning, things that can guide us into this new year differently. I'm going to give you a little bit of a synopsis from some of the chapters of my book, Thinking Outside the Box. And they're not just nice ideas. They're the foundation of everything we're building. Your food struggles are a gift, from chapter 1. Your patterns aren't proof you're broken. They're proof your brain is brilliant at solving problems. It just picked a solution that's not working anymore. What if you went into 2026 seeing your struggles as smart instead of shameful? Oh, they're great indicators, guys. Great indicators. From chapter 2, it's not one thing, it's 4 systems. And these are just the basics, 4 systems. There's reward chemistry. We get a big, big hormonal hit, a comfort, a numbing, a distraction from these reward chemicals. We get the feeling that we didn't get from our loved ones, from the people that support us. For whatever reason, it is giving us what we needed. Another system is our gut bacteria. Guess what, folks? Our gut is actually the second brain. They're calling it that because there's so much communication. There's more communication to the brain from our gut than from our brain to our gut. You understand what I'm saying? Those little microbiome are talking up here and telling us what we need and what we want. Our nervous system. Everyone's talking about the vagus nerve. That's a fascinating story. The vagus nerve was discovered, its impact on our system was discovered when they started researching the lie detector test. Stephen Porges, who developed the polyvagal theory, was hired to help develop a way to test someone's truth. And that's where the lie detector test came in. And as he started recognizing it, he started realizing our bodies react whether we like it or not. So the nervous system, and our vagus nerve in particular, impact so much. Habits. It's another fun one. It's in a completely different part of the brain. We develop habits that maybe came from sadness and grief and judgment and shame. Maybe. But also maybe came from just living with someone else who also liked to sit down in the evening and order things from the menu and from the takeout and eat bags of things. Or that feeling or that need to go at 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock at night to go and get something. Habits, a different part of the brain. You've been trying to fight a forefront war with willpower alone, with gripping the steering wheel. No wonder it hasn't worked. If you stay focused on the food is the problem, you're missing this entire landscape. This is where the work is. What if you went into 2026 understanding what you're actually up against so you can build a plan that addresses the real problem? Also from chapter 2, alarmed aloneness drives you to food. being activated and alone. That's the hidden driver behind almost every food moment. Food doesn't ghost you. It doesn't judge you. It shows up every single time. It's consistent. And because it's consistent, our brains, our amygdala in particular, has set it up as the go-to, the solution. What if you went into 2026 with connection as your foundation? Never alone with this. From chapter 3, traditional diets prevent learning. I'm going to go into this a little bit more in a little bit too. Your brain learns through choice, reflection, and feeling safe. Rigid diets remove choice, demand compliance, and create fear. They're designed to prevent the very change you're trying to create. Science has improved immensely and amazingly. Diets have not changed the process. What if you went into 2026 with a learning mindset instead of a compliance mindset? Building your plan from your wisdom. I'm hearing some of you right now say, yeah, but I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. I don't understand this. I don't know how to create my own plan. I want you to relax, and I want you to trust not only you, but trust this process. Just take a minute, because chapter 4, shame blocks everything. When you're drowning in shame, your brain goes into lockdown. No learning, no changing, no growing. There are some that say that our emotional quotient, our ability to interpret different types of emotions, stops at the point that we start addiction. At the left. I'm pretty sure that was in the womb for me. Oh, does that mean that I have the emotional intelligence and the emotional age of a 2-year-old? Probably. Some could attest to that. But I want you to hear that shame creates that thing and keeps pushing us down, and we need to let that go. Every resolution built on I'm disgusting and need to fix myself is doomed from the start. What if you went into 2026 with compassion as your fuel instead of shame? I'm only in chapter 5, guys, okay? Your why can guide you instead of punish you. You've turned your motivation into a whip, a weapon you beat yourself with. But your why can be your North Star, gently guiding, not harshly demanding. What if you went into 2026 pulled forward by love instead of pushed by fear? Every failure has been teaching you. This is from chapter 9. Every diet you quit, every Monday restart, every I'll do it better tomorrow. You weren't failing, you were collecting data. If you collect it, running experiments, learning what doesn't work for you. What if you went into 2026 ready to use that research to build something that actually fits? The reframe is your superpower. When you change how you see something, you literally change your brain chemistry. I want to say that again. When you change how you see something, you literally change your brain chemistry. Is this actually true? Might be the most powerful question you can ask. Is this actually true? What if you went into 2026 with new questions instead of old answers? From chapter 18, you can't do this alone. Being stressed and alone drives you to food. Connection is the cure, and I'm sorry to say, I understand and I appreciate our introverts. But ironically enough, in 2015, I would have considered myself an introvert because of so much shame and so much guilt and so much judgment of myself. My inability to climb stairs. I lived on the second floor. I overlooked a beautiful ocean that I barely walked on. I needed connection, and it made all the difference for me. But it's really hard. So I just want you all to hear that I am here to give you and allow for you to have whatever connection you need. But I need you to hear connection is important. Isolating is generally based on shame. I understand the difference. I do. But you need accountability partners who don't judge you, people who actually get it. What if you went into 2026 surrounded by people who understand, building your plan together? Chapter 19, you already know more than you think. You are the world's leading expert on you. Every cycle, every pattern, every struggle. You've been collecting data for decades, and frankly, we collect more data about the crap and our screw-ups. We collect way more data about that. We collect way more data about our screw-ups. We have it. You can reflect back on it. And reflection is a really big part of learning. That is how we learn. Not by someone automatically just telling us exactly what to do, when to do it. What if you went into 2026 trusting your wisdom instead of looking for someone else to tell you what to do? These aren't just ideas, they're invitations. Invitations to see yourself differently, to approach this differently, to build something that actually fits you. I've talked about my book for a while now, and I hope you've had a chance to get into it, but it is complicated and it is rich and deep. So how do we actually do this? Not someone else's rules, not more shame, not more trying harder. We've talked about that. Here's what actually builds new neural pathways. Okay, this is actually how we learn. And the irony is we've been told forever that we just need to find the right diet. And then we need to follow it mindlessly. Mindlessly. The first thing we need to do is have focus. This is how our brain actually learns. And when our brains learn, our brains can then shift our need. All the stress and strain and anguish and emotional dumping that happened over the last couple of weeks can be gone because we have a new process in place. We are learning by focus, which is deliberate attention, not scattered rule following, not I'll just try to be good, but intentional, curious engagement with what's actually happening. This is how you start to see your patterns clearly, so you can build your approach. Friction, real engagement with the hard moments. Not numbing, not ignoring, not I'll deal with it tomorrow or tomorrow's another day or just start Monday. Actually being with what's happening. Asking, what's going on here? What am I actually feeling? What do I need? This is where your wisdom emerges. But you can't do that. I need you guys to hear that. You can't do that if you're in a shame cycle or a judgment cycle. Your energy won't allow it. You're basically blended, to use parts language. You need to get to your authentic self. The fourth step is reflection, noticing, learning, adjusting. Not what's wrong with me, but what was that about? Because by now, you've probably had periods or stretches where you've managed to maintain, managed to lose weight, managed to eat well and keep a grade that you felt good about every day. So when something does happen, when that food just pulled on you and you watch yourself go and eat it, not what's wrong with me, but what was that about? Oh, that's weird. What was that about? The opportunity to look back, not with judgment, but with curiosity, and mine it for gold. It's hard to look back at the things we screwed up on. That's the place where you learn. This is how your plan gets refined over time. And the final step is meaningful repetition. This is where you can develop automaticity. This is where your willpower stops being depleted because you're working so hard. This is where showing up again and again, not perfectly, just consistently, creates new pathways. They don't get built in a day. They get built through presence and time and the courage to keep showing up. I am sorry to tell you, this is not a quick fix. This is not one gummy bear away from losing. I just can't believe some of the pictures I see. 28 days of this, and you go from a 50-pound need to weight loss to a thin, trim body. Come on. Let's get real. We've tried those things. I can't even list the number of diets I've tried. New pathways don't get built in a day. They get built through presence and time and the courage to keep showing up. This is how your sacred boundaries get stronger. This is the work, not white knuckling, not willpower, not someone else's rigid rules. You can do that. You can absolutely do that. But you're basically trading one prison for another. You can say, well, yeah, but I'm thinner. Okay, great. But are you living vibrantly? Focus, friction, reflection, repetition. Let me say that again. Focus, friction, reflection, repetition. Your plan, your pace, your sacred boundaries built from your wisdom, and you cannot do it alone. I need you to hear that. That's probably the hardest for some of you. You can't do it alone. We're not supposed to do it alone. Humans are supposed to be in community. You actually aren't doing it alone. Someone built your house. Someone provides your electricity. Someone puts the groceries at the grocery store. Someone pulls all the fruit and vegetables and brings it there. You're not actually doing it alone. There's a ton of people helping you every single day. But I understand why. It's not weakness. It's how humans are wired to be in community. We learn through connection and we heal through connection. I can't tell you the number of times someone has said, wow, I really appreciated that share. It wasn't theirs. It was someone else's. But they felt so much connection. They felt so much. Sometimes I've heard things that are like, wow, I'd never thought of it that way before. This is what your project is built on. Here's what I want you to understand about what I'm offering. This isn't about starting over. You already have things that work. You've had plans that got you results. You're probably much further along than you thought. You know more about what works for your body than any diet book could tell you. The problem isn't the food plan. It might need a few tweaks. The problem is what happens when life gets hard, when the holidays hit, when stress piles up, when you're exhausted and alone and something in you just breaks. That's the need for food, as simple as breathing. It's not a food problem. That's a system problem. And that's what must be completely missing right now. It's why you're here. It's why most approaches miss this. This is complicated. I'm not going to lie. This is complicated. But here's what we're actually doing in my project. We're not throwing out what works. We're figuring out why it stops working. Sometimes it's timing. Sometimes it's quantities. Sometimes it's a tweak here or there. But mostly, it's what's underneath. The nervous system stuff, the old contracts, the alarmed aloneness, the patterns that hijack you before you even realize what's happening. When you understand that, the food part gets so much easier. Really does. When you address that, the noise starts turning down. Think about it this way. You've been trying to solve a puzzle with half the pieces missing. You had the food piece. You had the what to eat piece. But nobody gives you these connections that are directly linked to your ability to control what you eat or don't. The nervous system piece. The why do I fall apart at holidays piece. The why does stress send me straight to food piece. The why do I know what to do and still not do it piece. That's what we're adding, not a new diet. the missing pieces that make your approach actually stick. There's so many different ways to figure out what's going on and what is important for you. So many different ways. I have assessments and worksheets and ways of processing through things to help you understand your wiring, your triggers, your patterns. Which of the four systems is loudest for you? What are your unconscious contracts? Where does your nervous system get hijacked? When you can see it, you can work with it. This is where we shift from critical to curious. Remember alarmed aloneness? Being activated and alone drives us to food? The daily calls that we have Monday through Friday really help interrupt that pattern. You don't have to attend them. You can listen to them or not, but they are there for you. Drop in when you need it. Camera off is fine. Lurking counts. You're stressed, you're not alone anymore. That place where you can troubleshoot immediately. My plan is to have twice a month Saturday deep dives, where we not only read the book together, out loud, with me right there, but we're also applying, landing the concepts in your life. Oh, that's why that happened to me. Wait, that's not a character flaw. So that's what's been driving that pattern. Those epiphanies are gold, and they're just delightful to see. This is where the insights click into place. Community and coaching and all the apps, all the tools, group coaching calls, people who get it, people who've hidden wrappers too, people who won't judge you for struggling because they're struggling too. I'm not handing you a rule book. I'm giving you the tools to figure out what's actually going on so we can tweak your approach with real understanding instead of just trying harder. You already have a plan that mostly works. I'm certain of it. I just want to say too, I released all my weight on Bright Line Eating, all my excess weight, I should say. Since Bright Line Eating, I've had probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 tweaks for a bunch of different reasons. I believe very firmly in my own ability to recognize when something's not working, when something's off. So I'm hosting on January 3rd an Alarmed Aloneness webinar. It's something that a lot of people have expressed an interest in learning more about. Just the phrase alarmed aloneness, just imagining what that feels like. I'm sure you can flash on at least one time in the last day where you felt alone. It's basically where you don't feel like you can tell anyone, or you don't feel like anyone can understand. And that's going to be on the 3rd. Alarmed aloneness is something nobody talks about. It's a hidden driver behind almost every food moment. The reason holidays are so hard. Most of the people in your family circle don't understand. Even if they appreciate and support you, they don't understand. So they don't understand how stress would send you to food. But we're going to break it down on the 3rd. My project starts on the 10th, but it's already started. I'm already working with some people who have signed up already. If you sign up for a year, you get 2 free 30-minute coaching sessions and an additional 1-hour coaching session with me if you sign up before the 3rd. The cost is $470 a year. If you're already a part of the magic, use a coupon code and get it for $320. It's $47 a month. If you're not sure if this is going to work, try us out. I'll post the link in just a second. But I just want to say, before we go, I want to come back to where we started. The pickle. The belief that once you're hijacked by food, you're hijacked forever. That the best you can hope for is a lifetime of managing, fighting, white knuckling. I don't believe that anymore. And I don't want you to believe it either. I've been where you are. I've had plans that worked until they didn't. I've lost weight and gained it back. I've stood in the kitchen at 3 a.m. wondering what the hell was wrong with me. And I spent years thinking the answer was a better diet, more discipline, trying harder. It wasn't. The answer was understanding what was actually happening underneath. Why holidays destroyed me. Why stress sent me straight to food. Why I could be so successful at everything else and so defeated by this one thing. Once I understood that, this shifted. The noise turned down. Not overnight, not perfectly, really, sustainably. I went from a 10 plus plus on the susceptibility scale, which I still think is a little silly to say, to seeing the difference between food and not food, the way a sober alcoholic sees whiskey versus tea. Clear, obvious, not a negotiation. I have a huge healthy respect for that stuff. I'm amazed that these scientists can make even more bliss food, even raising the bliss point even higher. It's incredible what they can do. Kudos to them. But I'm going to find a different way to nurture my soul. This isn't a negotiation, not because I'm special, because I finally had the missing pieces. And I don't have to wait a decade to feel it. Because I need you to hear this. Within weeks, you're going to have better sleep, clearer thinking, the edge coming off. Just lowering your stress level about what to do and when to do it. Changing your way of reflecting. Within months, the triggers that used to come are going to lose their power. And within a year or two, realizing the noise has gotten so quiet, you almost forgot how loud it used to be. The work is worth it, not because it's easy, because it actually works. You're not broken. You're not weak. And you're not a lost cause. You're someone who's been trying to solve a complicated problem with incomplete information. It's not your fault. Once you have the missing pieces, the nervous system stuff, the pattern recognition, oh, that's why that happens. Everything gets easier. Not easy, easier. Because you're finally working with yourself instead of against yourself. So here's my invitation for 2026. Stop trying harder, start getting curious. Stop blaming yourself, start understanding yourself. Stop looking for a new diet, start figuring out why the old ones stopped working. Food part you've got, mostly. It's the underneath part that's been missing. And that's what we're building together. The momentum is real right now. The story is ending. This year is ending, The story never ends. The year is ending. The energy is there. Something new feels possible. Why not surf this wave? Let's not waste it on the same approach that hasn't worked. Let's point it somewhere new. Eyes wide open, critical to curious, never alone again, headed toward life where the noise finally turns down. Just want to see you all. I have been, I guess, a natural salesman my entire life. But the fact is, I can't sell something that I don't believe in. And this is new. I'm creating this from my book out of whole cloth. So I'm really keeping this priced very reasonably. Here's the link to the Advanced Recovery Project. And I want you all to consider hopping in and trying it out, seeing if this is something that'll work for you. I am not here to create a circumstance where your particular diet is wrong. I will never tell you that the particular food plan you're on is bogus and wrong and you need to change it. I want you to hear that your food plan has kept you and brought you here, but there may be some tweaks that you might want to do. And it may be a combination of things that will make this different. I've already worked with one person who was just super stressed, and was eating everything. I'm sure you can't relate to that at all. But having that kind of super stress, we also looked at a few other aspects. It's the holidays. When is the last time you did any movement? When is the last time you took care of yourself and did any normal self-care? Of course your body's in a crazy twizzle. Of course it is. I know that this can accompany anybody's food plan and anybody's circumstances in a way that works for them and hopefully pushes you a little bit outside the box. Hopefully pushes you a little bit outside your comfort zone in order for you to experience something or try something that might be epiphanal. I don't want to minimize some of these things. I'm witnessing epiphanies, and they're so beautiful. I had one this morning about breathing. And I see the connection so clearly between reaching for that substance and our bodies saying, nope, we're going to breathe. You try holding your breath. You try it. At some point, your body says, nope. And that's what's happening when we go to food, especially when we watch ourselves do it and we can't stop it. That's what's happening. And it is a great launching pad and a great starting point for shifting. Are there any questions? Does anyone have any questions? I'm just looking here to see. I am learning to trust myself. I see that. So important. So important. Because I was told my brain was hijacked by this substance, which technically it is. But we also have, as sentient beings, the capacity to recognize this substance is messing with my head and my peace. We have the capacity to do that. We are not one thing. The link in the chat thread at the Advanced Recovery Project, that's it. Yep. Thanks, Barbara. There's a whole list of information on what this is. And I want you to hear, I'm here to answer any questions that you might have. I'm recognizing we're over from what I had assumed would be 45 minutes. I'm trying to keep these short and to the point. I am so proud of my book. I am so proud of the work that has gone into it. And I'm so proud of the information that I've been getting about it. My book is available on Amazon. It's also available on my website. If you go to my front page, transformwithsonia.com, you'll see 3 different links. There's a link to this, the Advanced Recovery Project. There's a link to buying the book on Amazon. And there's also a link to buying it on my website, which gives you an interactive approach. All of those are available. And I'm really here to answer questions because at the end of the day, I believe that diets haven't changed. Diets haven't changed their process in as long as I've been dieting, and I'm not a spring chicken. The process has always been the same. We are starting to understand these underlying issues, but very few people are connecting these dots. I'm not saying I'm special. I just know that because of my background, because of my thirst for new knowledge, I just learned something really interesting about high levels of cortisol throughout the day impact your ability to deep sleep. If you don't have good, strong, deep sleep, you don't have restorative time. Your bodies don't restore. Guess what? You need to turn down the cortisol during the day. How do we do that? Oh, there's so many ways, but we first have to notice it. We first have to be aware of it. The time the calls are on Saturdays is going to be at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on Saturdays. It'll be 2 Saturdays a month. I will post the schedule. I think the only holiday that I've put on the calendar is the morning of Valentine's Day, which I thought was kind of appropriate and might be helpful. It's also my sweet Nikki's birthday. Any other questions? I'm seeing a lot of faces, a lot of engagement. I'm seeing a lot of interest and a lot of attention, and I really appreciate that. Yeah, Sharon, go ahead.
Yeah, there was a discount code for those who are already in the Magic.
Yes. Oh, yes, thank you. It's just the word magic.
Okay.
Yep, type in MAGIC. So if you're already in the Magic, You are welcome to use that code. And if you're not in the magic, this will put you in the magic. So that's why the discount code. Yeah, Cecily.
I think it's actually Magic 2026.
Is it really?
That's the discount code. Yeah. Magic is the sign in.
So funny.
Anyway, so I think that's the case. I just did it and I had notes that it's from last week. So
thank you
to
so
try
much,
it both
my
ways,
organizational bestie. Thank you. Thank you. Magic 2026 is the coupon code for anyone that's in the magic. This is me, not at all blushing because I'm not. I love the fact that I make mistakes. I do. But I'm also very, very passionate about this. So I'm super excited. And I hope that you all have an opportunity to get in here because it is going to be a beautiful place. Anything else?
There's a question of if the calls will be recorded. I just noticed.
Yes, absolutely. Not only will they be recorded, they will be available on the app, on the website. There will be a designated place for everything, along with additional tools and resources that will be available in a moment's notice. If you're in a situation where you recognize, wow, I'm missing something, what can I do? Because we can take that pause. We can take that moment to recognize, oh, wait a minute. I'm in that place. We know what that feels like. When our bodies are just too reactive, our bodies are too whatever, we know. And if we can pause for just a moment, we're going to be able to see it. And we're going to be able to get there. Anything else for the good of the order? It's really good to see some of you. Some of you are new to me. Some of you I've known and I've missed. I'm really grateful to see you. Yep. Absolutely. Have a fabulous Sunday. Ride this wave this new year. It's going to be glorious. I'm excited about it. Bye, everyone.